Firstly, on the injury front, as always, how are Joe Snowden and Adam Murphy doing at this point?
Adam Murphy's bad news. It was more severe than we thought. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. Ligament trouble. Joe Snowden was nothing to do with his injury. He was ill. He had the galloping trots. That's why you couldn't be involved. So we didn't want anyone else getting that, but he's fine now, and so that's even better news than it was. It wasn't his hamstring that was a problem. He was sick. So he's not sick anymore.
So when you add Drinan and Nichols back into the mix, you feel you've got a few more options?
I have definitely got a few more options, and that's what we need. We need to do better than we're doing. We need to show the principles that I want, and I want to see them week in, week out, and they have to understand what the vital ones are, the non-negotiables. So we've had a big week on that. And I meant what I said last week. I didn't enjoy the game at all, and I should have been on the bench. It was my fault, so I got to be very careful about my speech. And I will not be arguing with anybody. I'm just going to have to ignore everybody, ignore the fourth official, whatever the referee's doing, whatever's happening, and just totally focus on making sure that our lads understand why they win games when they do win games, and why they draw them, and why they lose them. I thought they knew that, but obviously not.
So when you kind of sit down and dissect the video with them, how much of it is kind of an educational progress, and how much of it is giving them a bit of a kind of hint of your clear displeasure at what you saw?
It's not clear displeasure. It's the recognition of what I thought they knew and what they obviously don't know. And it's when you start, when you go, when you're working, when am I ready to go to work? And if you want to take a day off on that, then you're never going to beat anybody, even if you're 2-0 up. And we've also proved that we did 2 new things and we scored 2 goals from that. We practiced 2 things that they hadn't seen. So we have to change whatever we do week in, week out. And why we were able to score and play some wonderful football was no one was expecting us to do it. And now they've watched us and do it. They're planning to stop us. So we have to be able to change. The lads have to understand they can't keep doing the same thing, because they have to change and they have to see and they have to understand why. So there's lots of bits and pieces that from last week's game I can show them that, whoa, hold on, and let's go again, and that's what we're going to do. It will help with slightly different skill sets, but it's no good just being a good footballer. No good just having talent. You got to work as a team, and I felt after we scored 2, we looked like we thought we could just sit back. And I felt we got outplayed all over the place, out-chased, out-worked, out-run, even in the second half. There was some bits we were good enough to almost win, but fair play to them. They were good, and this lot are very similar. And apparently they passed round us last year away from home, particularly at home. So, do we think we're there? I don't know. Does the club think? I have no idea. We just got to keep working, keep your feet on the ground, work hard, and be humble. And I didn't see that. We thought we could win. Only being honest. And my fans deserved that, because I came down at half time. Everybody was telling me to sort it out. So that's my job, isn't it? Going to try to.
Have you considered changing the sort of structure of the shape of the team at all to, I don't know, help you apply those principles better?
It depends who you got fit. Depends who's suspended. Whether you can change that shape. Quite simple, really, but it's fitting that, and we've got to be able to change. And I will be changing left, right, and centre now from now on in, because I feel that's absolutely vital, completely and utterly vital. Like I did last year, how many times did I have to change it? But have I got the right ingredients sat on the bench to actually change it the way I did last year? I put 2 runners who could run with the ball last year. I haven't got them. Danny Butterworth's out of it, and we've sold the other one. So maybe Harry Gray might get a permanent little chance, because he did well last night in the youth team, and you need all different types of things, and it's about getting the balance right. But it's all about the mix of who you've got available and how well they can do it against the opposition. and we cannot be predictable. And I've got to remind them time and time again what I've seen over my years of what is the main ingredient to being successful. And sometimes you can get caught up in, oh, we're going to pass, we're going to play. That's nothing to do with it. I don't judge you on that. I judge on how hard you work without the ball and how much you want to win that ball back. And how well you know as a team where it's going. And if you don't take charge of, as you're building the moves, tell them where it's going, and you let someone else make their mind up, you can suddenly go from being a good team to an awful team. Or looking brilliant to mediocre. Or even worse, winning and then losing 7 in a row, 6 in a row, 5 in a row. After winning 5 in a row, you know, this is what you've got to try and stop. And there's no reason. I know football can do this. Have a look at Liverpool. Seriously, have a look at it. You haven't never turned the corner. You haven't never won anything. You haven't done anything. Look at Bristol Rovers. Look at, you know, we're luckily we're having draws, not defeats. So, can we keep? We're not that far back. That could easily have been a defeat. That looked like a blatant penalty to me. Ball he said he didn't hit him on the shoulder. I don't think so. It looked like he dived and saved it, you know. The refs missed one. But, you know, as I say, it's all about believing and keeping going and trying to find a solution and being together. And, you know, at the end of the day, I walked down there. It was quiet. It was awful. We were 2-0 up. It was still quiet. It was because no one was pressing. No one was closing. No one was putting their goalie under pressure. What on earth? And watching our youth team last night, we almost threw a game away because it went back to our goalie. We didn't make good enough angles. He gave it away. They scored. And then before you know it, he almost done it again because, you know, this is what happens. Football is, there's no such thing as control. This is a modern thing. This is Man City. They get control of the game and they dominate the game, and you have to, I'm sorry, you don't. People have learned out what Man City do, and they're stopping it, aren't they? So, do you get what I mean? So Pep's got to change again. Don't work that way. And if you look at Arsenal, they're in a great period because how hard are they working to press you when you've got a ball? It ain't all about playing out. What does playing out mean? It's all about scoring goals and not letting them score. And we got to go back to doing that. I don't care how the ball gets there. Let's see. It's nice if it goes well, but if you look at our successful, that was when people didn't know we passed. Right? Those nice goals came, they didn't know we passed. Now they know we passed. It's going to make it even harder, but we still got to add the 2 goals that we got last week. Look at a wonderful move that we had over here, but our players are skillful, but my staff are helping them. They've got to go back to what's most important, and I'll be telling them over and over and over again, and I'll be demanding that out of them, and hopefully I might make a difference. Because at the minute I don't enjoy what I'm seeing, and I got every right to say that. I don't think it's us. It don't look like my team. So they're gonna have to know that. Am I being over the top? Am I being dramatic? No, I'm in the cold light of day. I'm seeing so many things where I'm gonna let you pass it that way, and I'm not doing anything. Why? That should be my trigger to start work. They're not working. Why is that? Is that all right? Is it? Whoa. That's it. And that ain't one game. That was Colchester and at home. So hang on, do you think we can just turn up and win it? And I don't. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But what we got to do is get at it, keep going, and try and turn draws into wins, and try and keep the wins going. But just because we're Swindon, does that mean that we should expect that? Should we expect that? What I expect is us working harder than them and us tackling them. That's what I expect. Do you know what I mean? So, and I didn't see that. I can't believe it. Hopefully we'll see it this week against a very, very good team. So,
can I poke around a bit on tactics? Because we have a certain minority of fans who kind of ask us about the kind of formation. So, firstly, would you call it 5-2-3 or not?
Pardon?
Would you call what you play 5-2-3 or not? Because some do. I'm trying to get some insight here from. If possible.
Well, should I just sit down and tell the opposition what I'm going to do, should I? Is that what they want? We'll have to have a private night in home. I play wherever I put the ball. I try and outnumber whoever's there, and I try and get that up towards their goal as nicely, as quickly, as professionally as we can, because my forward players are much better than my defenders. If my defenders were that good, they'd be up front, right? Their skill set is to stop people scoring. So it's however you do it, whatever you do. Shapes transform from a defensive shape to an attacking shape. And without going through it, you know, if you want to be a coach, then go and take your badges and you'll hear all sorts of complete nonsense spoken these days about provoke the press and 2 6s and 2 8s and 1 6 and 2 10s and it's all complete nonsense. Who's pressing you, so work it into, it's just complete nonsense, in my opinion. So where's the ball? Can you make angles? Can you outnumber them? Can you make it safe to do that? And are you looking forward? You know, and our shape moves from sometimes we're 4-4-2 without the ball to go and press high. Sometimes we're man for man. Most of the time we're trying to have 2 wide players and try and get them forward as much as we can. If they get forward, then we drop the other 2 down, so we've got 4 in the midfield with 1 up the middle and 2 out wide. So we're stretching them. We're using all 5 lanes of the pitch. Outside lane, the 3 inner ones and the outside one, and we try and move from there. And then we try and pin them back to get 7 up on their back line. So we can do box runs, soft crosses. When you can't cross it, you roll it back and then you hit a soft ball in. So all of this, you know, woohoo, isn't it marvellous? It's AI. Just ask ChatGPT how to speak as a coach these days and it'll tell you. I'm serious. Ask ChatGPT. So whatever you see, I want to see us chasing, working, running, and without the ball, I want to see us getting round, getting extra bodies around people to outnumber them. I didn't see that last Saturday. They had time to pass round us. We had too many people in the back line. I don't like it. That ain't right. So we didn't get things right, and I'll be showing them again, and we'll be working on it, and I'll be angry with them. And the other day in practice, we played 10 people against 8, and 8 scored 3. The 8 scored 3 against the 10, or 11 with the goalie. They scored 3, and the outnumbered team didn't get out of their half. So how good are we at passing? If you press right, if you close right. And the best teams normally are who? Liverpool, how well did they press last year? How many times did they strangle people? What about Man City in their heyday? What about Sir Alex Ferguson's mains team? Do they let you play? No. What did we do last Saturday? So if our fans want to know, pull up a chair, come and sit down, right? And it's about who you've got available. And I had to change so many times last year tactics. I had to put forwards as wing backs. I had 2 attacking, you know. So really, truthfully speaking, 3-4-3 is what we normally do. Right? And where that 3 is, and where that 4 is, and who that 3 up front is, should change, depending on where the ball is. Do you get what I mean? So, the wide left could be Darren Oldacre, it could be whoever I'm putting out of Prince, it could be, right? Or on the wide right could be Glatzel, or it could be Finn Munro. And then Darren comes in and comes down, so he's in that midfield area. It could be, if we got him up, he could be that one. So it's all about trying to occupy the 5 lanes in attack. I've just told everybody what we do. But really, truthfully speaking, it's about where your heart is, and are you going to run, and are you going to work without the ball, and are you going to work harder than them to start with, and are you going to stay humble and not think you're a good team and think that just gives you a right to win. Even if you're 2-0 up, you know, what you have to do is believe you're going to do it and keep working and keep fighting. And I'm sure our fans will agree, since I've been here, my team has looked like that because I'm built that way. And I'm not going to allow them to peter off into some absolute tip-tappy, complete garbage, let's get caught with the ball and lose type team. So it's the balance. Do you get what I mean?
And last one quickly, you sort of talked about Chesterfield being a passing side, so is that a really good test of your pressing?
4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1, they will try and roll it out to their 2 centre-halves. They'll try and get it to their 2 full-backs, who will be like wingers. They keep their front 3, 1 really high, 2 really wide, and they'll have a roaming 10, and they'll have 2 sitters. So most of the time they're playing out with 6, and they've got 4 trying to cause you all sorts of trouble by trying to keep you pinned back. 1 up the middle, 2 as wide as you like. How many people are we going to mark them with 1 and 2, or are we going to keep 4 back against them? Might have to, and then they let that other lad float. So we won't be able to deal with their shape unless we can identify who's doing what and make sure. So hopefully we can be sorted. They passed all over us last year, and they'll try and do that again. They might go from back to front from a goal kick if we press them well, but we're going to have a game on our hands. They're really, really talented. They move the ball really well. They drew 3-3 last week with Crewe, who we beat 3-0, and I think we scored a brilliant goal, and then we forced Crewe into 2 mistakes, and we shocked them a few months ago. But they didn't know we were going to pass, did they? They didn't know we were going to play out. But if we try to play Crewe again, I think they'd be a much different, So the longer we show what we do, the more people's analytical group gets hold of us. We've got to be able to adapt. And at the minute, we don't look adaptable. And I was fuming last Saturday, right? Just for the fact we didn't do the main principle. So I'm going to hammer that into them again. I don't know how long it'll take. I might end up looking as sad as poor old Darryl Clark at the moment. And I feel for him because he's done a brilliant job trying to lift that group out of trouble, right? And even when he was winning 5 in a row, he's lost 7 in a row. This is what football does to you. You keep doing what you're doing, Darryl. You're a fantastic manager. Don't you ever lose faith in yourself. And if we can turn some of these draws into wins, and we're lucky they're draws sometimes, because people are lifting their game against us, and we've got to be even better at what we do. Hopefully Drennan coming back, who's on fire at the moment, touch wood, he's on fire. And he's exactly what we need to go hunting and chasing. And well done to the ones who came on last week. I thought Jake worked his socks off. Should have scored. And if he believes he's already scored for us, because he already has in non-competitive pre-season games, right? Then he might start going, mightn't he? Because his tenacity and his work rate is exactly what I want. Exactly what I want everywhere. So I've got to reinstate my authority.
Good luck, thank you.
Have you seen the kind of response that you're hoping for from the players this week?
I only had one day. Monday I just ripped their heads off. Tuesday I ripped their heads off and they had a chance to go and show me. They worked very hard on Tuesday. Wednesday they had off. So today we're starting again. But we're concentrating on who we're playing against, and they better do well. So I don't know is the answer, Joe.
What is it that Adam Murphy did to get the injury?
He trained. He trained and he rolled his ankle in a collision with one other player, so that happens.
You mentioned not having Danny Butterworth and kind of missing that profile. Do you feel like that has a big influence, not having that type of player in the team?
Well, when people leave one-on-one with you like they did last week, they weren't bothered. They went and put bodies around where we can get out, and they didn't let us get out. When we did get it to that player who's up there, he didn't have the skill set to take that player out of the game, which didn't help. If you look at the goal, Oldacre played it round the corner, Glatzel played a flick, Oldacre lost control of it, got tackled, it went straight to Billy. Luckily Billy put it in the top corner, but and then Ollie's came from a flick and then he flicked it and it almost didn't look like it had the legs to get in, did it? How that went in, I don't know, but I'm more pleased with the second half where Prince gets hold of it and plays Ollie in. Ollie should have scored, I think. Ollie should have scored, but he's already scored enough, and centre forwards are allowed to miss. But Prince didn't strike it well enough, But they had chances as well. So this is it, isn't it? The last time we won, right, in a league game, we won 2 cup games. They don't count. Doesn't matter, does it really? Because that doesn't count in my book. What we got to do is get enough league points. So, we've played well enough, but it's not getting the points that we need. And And in my experience, life gives you a certain amount of wins, certain amount of draws, certain amount, and it balances out it depending on how much you're working. And if you want to earn those points, then you have to be so consistent in the good things that you do that you stop everybody else scoring against you, and you've scored more than them. And my experience at the moment, there's probably one team in this country that's doing that on a regular basis, which is Coventry. We're not that far behind them, but we're nowhere near where they are. So, and nobody in our league is doing that apart from other people who are getting little runs. I think Bromley have won 4 in a row, and well done, it's fantastic. Let's hope we can. I still think we're doing well, but I have to be as cutthroat as this because I want to do better. Don't mean I don't praise them at times, but it's the fundamentals of football is that it leaves you up there and then it drops you down there, and you just got to be somewhere in the middle all the time. And for us to be what we need to be somewhere in the middle, not singing because we're top of the league, not booing because we've let a 2-goal lead slip and it's only half time. Sort it out. I'm gonna try, mate, but you know what I mean. It's so where are you? Is your glass half full? As a Swindon fan, is your glass half full or is it half empty? And you bring whatever energy you need. I'm going to try and liven you up by showing you my players chase everything as if their life depends on it. And I have to apologise, they didn't do that last week. So I've got to reset, go again. What am I asking you to do? Who am I going to reward for playing? And in training, if you don't tackle someone, I don't want you even being out here. So accidents will happen. Do you get what I mean? So you can only control that. You cannot control collisions if you want to play like I did. Did I ever get injured in training? Yep. Did I ever injure anybody in training? Yep. Did I mean it? Nope. Did he mean it? Nope. But that's life, and you're training properly. So unfortunately. And where'd you practice? Where'd you get better? In a match or in your training? So there we are, Joe. I'm trying to anticipate your questions because we seem to have an awful lot of talk coming into the radio, an awful lot of questions about, well, what are we playing and where are we going and what are we doing anything different? We're not doing anything different. The ball ain't going in and it's going in at our end. And was that really a penalty? Could we have played that longer? Did we have to go back there? Could we have scored a third goal without Darren going backwards? Why couldn't we play that forward? Why couldn't the goalie throw it forward? It was so on to do that. What are we doing? What are you thinking? So that's why doing our jobs as managers, people will never understand. Hindsight. It's a wonderful thing.
With Adam Murphy maybe being out for a couple of months, does this already influence more thoughts for January transfer window-wise?
Nope, it's more thoughts. More thoughts for what I've got in there now. Will I have to move someone from a defensive situation into a more forward situation? Yeah, probably. I'm thinking about January. January's way too far off at the minute. We got 5, 6, however many games before then. Just very unfortunate. He was going to play, he was going to start. And I like the look of us. And if you talk about them playing and passing quite passively, you certainly wouldn't have done with Adam in the team, I can tell you. But there we go. That's the way it goes.